Already slowed me down.
That's interesting. Well, hello everyone. I'm Dan Lutz, and I'm here with,
Tank?
and we're here on the
Can you hear
front
me okay?
lines. I hear you fine. How's it going, Tank?
Really good. Really good. I'm waiting for the stages 4 and 5 and 6, I guess, or 4 and 5 to launch off, and I would imagine that that will lead to liberation of all humanity. So I'm pretty excited about that, and I'm getting a lot of pieces ready to go. And we've been working pretty hard to help out Karakowski. You know, she was harassed this morning by the police officer, called her and was trying to basically challenge her for recording things, right, in Illinois. So in the state of Illinois, you have to actually get both parties' consent to record conversations, which, you know, anybody in general, like, we do this all the time because we want to have a record. So if we have a conversation for anything, we can refer back to it and say, oh, well, this is what we talked about, right?
Right.
And so Karakowski, you know, she does that as well. So this guy called her this morning and was basically harassing her. You know, he's like, you know, what are you doing with this? Like, you know, and then I don't even understand what the issue was. It was something about something he saw on Twitter, right? Now, coincidentally, Dominic Izzo, he warned me about this, right? That the cops there will, you know, they'll bust in and make a big issue about it. So we, you know, I kind of had her hold back a little bit because what I don't want to have happen, I don't want her to get arrested or in trouble and have anything mess up, you know, her getting her daughter back. So, you know, so that kind of went that way. But she sent it out. Now we got a whole bunch of political attention, right? We got a whole bunch of different politicians now. And the best, though, is like the behind-the-scenes political activists who are, you know, they're the ones who have a lot of sway. And, we got a lot of those people making calls for us. Red Pill 78 reached out to us to do an interview.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so that should be good. We'll get with him, and I appreciate him doing that. I haven't done it yet, but I appreciate him helping us get it out there, right?
Yeah, I listen to his stuff too. It's a periodic.
Yeah, he's the first person I ever saw go through the comms, really. And it's classic kind of CIA Army comms. That's the first time I heard it. I was like, this seems like a CIA op at first, right? That was my thought, anyways.
Yeah.
But now I see a little more clearly. Yeah, but that's it on that end. But you know what I'm pretty excited about actually is seeing the implosion of the Democratic nightmare that's taking place right now.
Yeah, I was thinking I was gonna start recording Schiff when he's speaking and just cut all cuts when he's not talking, and you just see his eyes making his strange faces. It's like, put them all in one big video. It would be pretty hilarious.
He's part hamster. There's no doubt. There's something about him that's off. But today, the star witness, the smoking gun for the Democrats, what is it? I can't remember the congresswoman's name, but she got them to admit that Obama knew what was going on, and there was a serious issue with Hunter Biden, right? And they were concerned about pay for play, right? So they knew it. There's no question anymore. It's like, wow, that's a real thing.
Yeah.
So it's like, why are we pretending like that didn't happen, right? It's like, can we now get the...
Don't say anything. Oh, it's televised? Oh, no.
Yeah. I felt like she probably went like, well, we knew, if you know what I mean. And then she's like, oh, wait, I'm not alone. So.
Yeah, well, there was, the other ambassador, right, as the star witness, too. He got torn apart by Jordan, and it's fourth-hand information. Right, that he's working
Kim
on.
Jordan tore apart the ambassador?
Yeah, because the guy basically got him to admit that his source for this was the New York Times.
There you go. Now, who is it? So now you got to keep tracing it back. So,
well, then from the New York Times, though, he went. He talked with some other people who that was a fourth generation hearsay. Right, so it's like someone who told someone.
So would be a alleged whistleblower. You're not really a whistleblower if the person just said, "Oh, here's what everything was said." Like, what are you blowing the whistle on, right? Alyssa Milano, the new famous political voice of Hollywood chicken heads everywhere, she comes out and she's like, because he withheld aid and 2 people died or something. I'm like, are you kidding? I'm like, they killed more people than that this morning, just in passing. And and that's not even true. He didn't withhold aid. Right? Withheld aid until he could find out, are they corrupted or not? And it's the Ukraine. What about all the Americans that are dying? Right now, I've got a little boy who died.
Well, it's like this. $7.2 billion is already missing from Ukraine.
Right.
All right. So holding up aid, in that time, are we still going to give these guys aid?
Well, why are we required to give aid to the Ukraine anyways?
Right.
The idea of quid pro quo is like, look, I'll do this if you do this.
Well, that's the other thing. Quid pro is not illegal. It's not. There's nothing. It's the same thing like collusion is not illegal. These things are not illegal that they're framing, that they're going to make an impeachment about, right? They're not illegal.
Actually, all this could really be like, we have an accusation that you are guilty of quid pro quo, and actually you're excellent at it, Mr. President, because you did a great job. Because in reality, it's like, and what we have discovered is that the president is an excellent businessman who gets a lot of stuff done.
Right.
And this is not our plan. You're not going along with what we're trying to accomplish, which is nothing.
Right.
So, I love it.
And meanwhile, the Democrats are doing nothing. So the USMCA agreement is not moving forward. But it looks. I had one analysis from someone that I heard that Nancy Pelosi is going to bring this out later, before the election, so they can say, "Oh, we didn't hold it up." But it's not gonna be in effect long enough for it to have any positive effects on the economy. So we can't claim anything good for that, except Trump doesn't need it. He's already the top of the game, right? And everything is coming up roses in the economy, and everyone's making more money, and the stock market's going to continue to do more highs and more highs and more highs.
Well, yeah, I mean, the whole stock market thing is a sham. At some point, they probably want to go after that and say, this is ridiculous, right? The stock market is a sham. He's not a good president, right? But they can't because it's what they've been doing. Right.
Well, it's interesting. I used the word sham on a video that I put out there about this thing, Kringle Liquid Token. I called it a sham. Now, then everyone starts using the word sham. I said, "Oh, okay. Did I put that out there into the lexicon? People haven't been using sham for a while."
Oh, yeah, it's out there. I've been trying to play this all day, but for anybody who's on Facebook, go look at Dominic Izzo's Facebook page. He puts this out. This piece of information, right? Like we did this interview with him last week, and it was incredible. It was a good interview, solid. But
I saw it.
It's heavy information, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's not what I want you to watch. What I want you to watch is the after effects, right? Because Dominic Izzo was like, he's a hardcore, veteran cop, right? Who got bullied off the force basically, and falsely accused of things, and he basically sued the department and won, right? But it took him a long time, and there's a bunch of guys with him, and like some of the guys went back and stuff like that. But he's obviously like a cop, like Marine type of guy, right? He's good guy, but a little rough around the edges in the best possible way. I mean that completely affectionately, right? Like I love the way he is, and but he goes on Facebook and he's live and he's talking about some of the stuff, and he's like, I can't get the stuff out of my head. Now the stuff we told him, to be honest. It was like a small slice of things, right? It's not even a glimpse of the things that we know really goes on. We gave him this one incident, which is awful. It is egregious because what's taking place with this judge, right? This one case. Now, it only takes one case like this to be very public, and everyone has to pay attention, and it can change everything, right?
Right.
Because now everyone's on guard. No judge is going to be able to do that because this was taken down. The last judge that did it, this is what happened. But because there's no consequences, and the reason why there's no consequences is because the people don't stand up, right? But this is what I love. So we were talking to him about how essentially that what happens is these guys, they do something terrible, and like maybe it's a one-off, maybe it's a regular practice, right? But whatever it is, it gets on videotape somewhere, and then they don't want to talk about it, right? So they'll do whatever. They don't want their moms to know, their wives to know, and it could be something horrible, but it could be just something just horrible for them, right? For their image or whatever. So Izzo goes on there talking about, being like part of an orgy and like, this weekend frolic and nonstop, whatever, and, stuff like that. And he's like, and it's something you can tell, like, he didn't talk about. And the guy, to his credit, he just put it out there on Facebook. Now, I'm not recommending everyone do that, but for the cops, Marines, this is why we put out the information about the soldiers, right? That the soldiers were being raped and sodomized, right? And they were going through these experiences, and then they were embarrassed and horrified, and then they were forced to molest kids and take kids, and they do this to break people. This is a Mossad tactic, right? They discovered if we can just get them to do something with children that our natural instincts are to protect, that they can basically control them to do whatever they want, because people will do anything not to have something like that out there, right? Like anything, because once that stigma is put on, and then they even magnified it, once that stigma is put on you, when I was a teacher, I had an 18-year-old girl, the last year I taught, the 18-year-old girl, and she was grown, right? She was a very pretty young girl, but she was a kid, obviously a kid, right? and I didn't even have Facebook yet. I guess she was putting all this stuff on Facebook on how she was gonna, sleep with Mr. Rob, right? So I like immediately went to the guidance counselor and said, "Look, I don't even want this. I don't want to be anywhere near this. I'm like, get this kid out of my class." I'm like, but even that, to be honest, I mean, she was an adult. If that happened, I could, but I knew all along when I was teaching, that was my biggest fear. It's like, it only takes an accusation, right?
Right.
So now I would just be like, come on, like, that's not even possible. But that's the kind of thing that we were talking about right now. So Izzo, to his credit, imagine if you had all the guys who they haven't done something awful, right? But once they start getting blackmailed, they kind of accidentally now they cover something up, not realizing the thing they just covered up, cost, 20 lives for, and got 13 kids kidnapped. They don't realize it even, I don't think. They just kind of turn a blind eye because they don't want you to talk about how, they cheated on their wife in Vegas when they were buddies, right? And it's all on tape. So, so to Izzo's credit, I think that was a bold move on his part.
Right.
I mean, about supporting the cause? Like, everybody doesn't need to come out and tell us their deepest, darkest secrets, right? Because it might not be useful. It's okay. But in his case, man, I thought that was
it's good. There's no way to blackmail, right? So that's the thing. Other than them creating false scenarios, right?
Yeah.
Things that were completely fake. Deep fakes. They'll do deep fake videos, right? And put your head on top of someone else's body and do whatever. So that's all possible. But we have to be mature. We have to realize that people that are going to come forward and they may have done some things, they were forced into this situation. Like you said, they were raped, like those soldiers that were raped, sodomized. This kind of stuff, it has to come out, and we have to put it on our big boy pants and just be able to deal with it so that we can get through the rest of it. Which we have to basically realize that this is the system that was put in place to control the world through these horrible secrets, and it's going to come out, right? And that's what I'm. It's like that SGT report from a couple days ago. The guy on there was saying the elite know that this is coming out, right, and they're freaking out. Right, so they're now getting geared up. They see it coming. Obviously, all of these executives resigning.
CEOs going down. All types of people. Yeah.
In politics or in industry or media or judicial, they're all resigning. They're all getting out because they know what's coming. Their heads on the chopping block. And Q had said a while back that that there was the option for them, if they did not harm anybody, right? If they didn't harm a child, they could just resign. If it was only about money, right? Get out now, and you're not of concern, right? If you harmed a child, and you come forward, you stop what you're doing, you're still gonna face some heavy punishment. But still, it's much better to get out now than to fight it to the very end, and then you're going to be wanting them to pass legislation to stop lynching.
Yeah,
you don't want to be on that bandwagon.
Well, I mean, it's all. I don't know what's going to motivate them. I mean, obviously, they've decided to go down with this whole absurd fight. I mean, at this point, it's like, oops. It almost makes me wonder if it's something that is planned, and they're doing it intentionally.
Right.
Like, but I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying it would not surprise me at all. Because it's just such a. All this stuff is just such a, it's just a ridiculous mess, really, right?
Right.
So, I'm excited to see how it all plays out. And to be honest, mainly what I care about is that people get paid. I've always said none of this matters if the people are not free. And I'll tell you, I've been writing this affidavit, and it's obviously I always think I'm going to get it done in a day, which is what it would probably take someone, what it should take if that, right? But as I'm going through it, I'm telling you, one of the best things I highly recommend for everyone to do: sit down and really consciously write out what it means, in your rights, so to speak. Right? And I think I'll read it because I'll read what I started. I'll read the part of it because it's so empowering. When you realize we are the head of the government. The government, as much as we think the president is the most powerful person on the planet, no, even the president is a public servant.
Right.
He works for the people.
Right.
Now, imagine if you think that way about them. Well, every one of us has that same power, right? And really, the government should be kind of an alternating view of us, of people going through it and just serving in that capacity for the greater good of the public, right?
Right.
It shouldn't be the debacle that it's become, which is something that Josh Conway is going to, he's gonna bring back what he tells me. He's gonna shorten the terms and hopefully make that happen. Let me see if I didn't delete everything. So yeah, but anybody should take the time to write out, what your rights are in language that is, in harmony with the Constitution, right? Because as I wrote this, I'm like, wow, like I never thought about this quite this way, but I was coached with this, right, to make sure I put the language in the right way.
Mm-hmm.
So this is how I started this. So I'm writing this statement of my own volition without any influence of perversion by any outside source. The statements herein are the truth as experienced by me, witnessed by me, and verified by my research completed by experts in their respective field of study as it pertains to this document. Supporting evidence has been provided to support the claims of this statement, meaning the affidavit. I am an indigenous American resident, born within the state of New York, and I currently reside within the state of New York. According to the Constitution, which is the law of the land, established by the people, for the people, and of the people, to define and enforce the common laws needed to form and maintain a functional government. The government, as well as all those contracted by them, are obligated and bound by the terms of the Constitution. This document is being recorded to hold the individuals and entities operating as part of the government or as contracted foreign agents who have sworn an oath or have sworn under oath to uphold, protect, and defend the rights afforded the lawful residents of this land by the American Constitution. There's a whole bunch more, but as I wrote it out, just as a practice, I highly recommend this, to do this for anybody, because as I wrote it out, I'm like, what the hell are we doing? I'm like, this is the truth, right? This is the proper language. And just playing that back in my head, it's like, right, this is written, by the people, for the people, of the people, or what the order is. I know constitutional experts will trash me for that, but it's like, why are we pandering to this group who is, they're registered as a corporation, they're operating as a foreign agent on our land, they're passing judgment and imposing, we're being invaded by Nazis. Literally. It's just subtle. They're just in disguise. But that is what it is.
No, we were invaded, and they're still there. And actually, I got someone else I was listening to that gave a very interesting perspective about China. The China Communist Party is not really a communist party as much as it is a Nazi party. Because what is a Nazi? It's a nationalist, right? What is a nationalist? There's nothing wrong with being a nationalist. It's a patriot. Love your country. So the Chinese love China, right? They're very nationalistic. So they act. What's the other part of being a Nazi is that you want to eliminate everyone else who's not.
Right. That's a problem. Yeah. Well, that was the agenda. That is the real agenda to it. I've heard that talked a lot more lately.
Yeah.
Is even the 10% that were alleged that were going to be saved, most of which were Chinese.
Right. Yeah, and they were going to have these small enclaves of other races, right? In their own little underground bunkers, which all I think have been destroyed.
Yeah, I mean, who knows how that was going to go down, right? I mean, like at the end of the day, it's like, look, we're here. You're not going to blow up the planet. I'm actually really excited. I've been really considering. I realized, if Kim's going to launch 2 other systems, right? It would make sense that there'd be the key internet management system, right? So that you can no longer, you can no longer just destroy freedom of speech, right? Because one of the things there's like bylaws that can set up so that people can no longer do this, right? These different criminal forces can no longer just destroy the rights of people actively, openly, and publicly, right? In such a way that is, it violates our natural rights, right? Just from natural law. And by doing this, this is happening all the time. They take a show like what we're doing, where all we're trying to do is get money to people so they can go out and change the world, right? That's the whole reason why we started this, to expose what we thought, and we were right, is a major obstacle, which is the RV, to kind of expose that lie in the hopes of, look, stop pursuing that and help us get this done here. And I spent the past 2 years nonstop, 24/7, trying to get this through to people, and trying to get through to banks and work on this and organize groups all over to take action. And which, that's the best thing I could have done in hindsight. I'm grateful that I was able to do that. But in reality, the whole point was like, look, we're just trying to do something basic that we should all be able to do. But none of us realized we couldn't do it until we tried. Right? That's a big thing. It's like we don't realize we're being blocked because we wouldn't even think to do this.
Right.
Right?
Right, exactly.
So now it's like we can actually pursue this in a way that is in harmony with the greatest good. And what we're realizing, like right now, like I know for a fact that Dan and I are being blocked. The front lines show is being blocked. People are looking for it. They know what they're looking for and they can't find it.
Right.
So what are the chances it's just being put through normal channels? When people do I did some searches the other day on the Speed Project. And you got to think, my browser is used to seeing the Speed Project, right? It didn't even come up. They had it completely blocked. And then every article I went to, or any video I went to of our own, I would get there and it would just be loading. And it didn't matter where I was. Wherever I went, whoever's device I used, it was the same thing. And think about what you do. If someone's video is taking that long, you'll just kind of go to something else.
Right.
So that's all by design. It's all by design.
Right.
So Kim is, I have to believe that she set up something, because the internet is being used as a weapon against the people. Even at my kids' school, they don't even use books anymore, right? They don't use books.
Right.
I mean, now my kids use books. I mean, they do a library all the time. But in general, everything they have to submit into the iPad that connects to the school network, right? Which is very efficient, right? So if they don't do homework, we know. So in that sense, it's cool.
Right.
But the problem is, just the natural, they're always looking at the computer screen. They're being programmed constantly by it, right? And they make us all dependent. So first they make everybody dependent on computers and all these different things, and then they use it as a weapon against us. And that's that's kind of the travesty with this, the way they're censoring everything.
Yeah, and the thing is that it could actually, all these tools could be used for so much good, right?
Yeah.
And they're being used against us. I mean, I think I've seen some very good teaching tools for on the iPad. Used to be a one that I'd give kids. Says, here's my iPad. I had the game on it, Water's World from Disney.
Okay.
Right, and it taught physics. Right, because you had to make this path for the water to flow. Right, and you could make it go through things, and you got to get it from. So it starts from, and I put it in a 3-year-old's hands, right, and just kind of show how it worked, and they'd start doing it themselves, right, and so there was a lot that you could learn from that. So that it's a good teaching tool. But is there, these ulterior motives that they have, these alternate things that they want people to end up learning for their detriment? So, it's tools.
Well, I mean, we know the science is off. I mean, I can tell you, my sons and I take my sons to school every day. Literally just for this 20-minute car ride we have together, grab some kind of breakfast on the way, and I make sure we have that time and we talk about it. So I always ask them questions about what they're learning. And they're like, well, what's going on? And they know better, right? Like they know, like I expect my son to get in trouble. Like at some point. Like I expect it and I encourage it, right? I'm like, you need to challenge them when they say this. Why? Because I see what's going on. I'm like, if you hear this, make sure you bring it up. But I asked him this morning, I'm like, do we live in a democracy? Like something in our conversation, right? Now, keep in mind, my sons are like criminal masterminds, right? Like they'll mess with me constantly. It's hilarious. But so we're going through all this stuff, and they're like, I'm like, are we a democracy? And they're like, yeah. And then I bust. And anytime they get something wrong like that, I'm like, what? I'm like, that's what you think? I'm like, what is a democracy? So we're going through the whole thing, right? I'm like, so what's the republic? I'm like, what are we really? And then they're like, we're a republic. I'm like, what does that mean? And they didn't know. You know how much I talk about this with them? And I'm still like in a fight. And I make it. And sometimes they'll just do that to me just to see me go off. But like, it's fine,
Yeah. Well, that's good. No, it's good to put the passion into it, right? Because that's where they get passion.
Right. Yeah. I mean, which I dig though. Like but then they're always coming to me with different articles and showing me like, Dad, look here, everything they can validate. It's like, please do that because they're not teaching anything at school. They've taken all this amazing content and they made it smaller and smaller and smaller. Yeah. Because that is it naturally causes the brain to just expect less, right? When your world gets smaller, you think there's less to expect, there's less opportunity, and you just, you stay in your little bubble, right? And you stay entertained.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that's the goal. And I went to another PTA meeting tonight.
Oh, congratulations! I love those.
Yeah, I like that and root canals and also adult circumcision. I think is also these are all fun things.
Yes,
yeah. So that was sarcasm in case anyone didn't catch that. But yeah, so I was at this, but it was a fun event. It was like they were having like a little meeting and there was like bingo, right? And all I could think is like they're all here and they're playing bingo with the kids, right? It was all the little kids, right? And it's like my daughter's having a blast and she's in heaven, right? Like putting pennies around. But all I could think the whole time I was there is like, there's no one. I've tried to bring up conversations with them. I'm like, you guys realize they're going to impose this Gardasil 9 vaccine on all of our kids, right? And it's going to sterilize them. But like, I couldn't even bring it up anymore. It's like they're just so indifferent. But I just think we're looking at generations that were dramatically affected by vaccines already.
Right.
Right. Because I was born in '76, right? But that generation, there was an active goal to like grab, certain ones out of that, like these, I don't know what they are. I don't know if it's indigo or star seeds or something like that, right? They were like Max Steel, I think the guy's name is one.
Yeah, the indigo children. They were trying to grab a hold of them and
yeah, like it's supposed to be the ones who came down for this mission, right? And there was like I guess late '60s and '70s.
I think I was one of the early ones sent in.
Yeah, obviously blazed the trail. I mean,
yeah, it's like,
you were doing physics in when you were like 3, right? Like you came out of the womb like composing symphonies. I mean, like not everybody does that, right?
Yeah.
So
I don't say quite that, but yeah, I was definitely I had a interesting childhood, put it that way.
Dan, later on, I'm going to be telling Dan Lutz stories. And I'm going to be like, one time, Dan Lutz figured out how to wrestle a bear, and he took the bear and he, made peace with the bear and made a whole rug out of its fur.
That's a piece of a bear, yeah.
I'm going to have so many great Dan Lutz stories. It's going to be awesome.
Oh, that's wonderful. I'll start doing some tank stories.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Embellish. We like that.
Yeah. So,
So that's what men do.
yeah. Especially by the time we met, right? You know, we got face to face. That did ever happen.
Oh, yeah. So yeah.
So,
But
embellishment. You said embellishment. That's why it was.
Yeah. But anyway, so the big scary thing to me is like, all these parents, they're inoculated. They're indifferent. They're drowned with work and bills. The actual issues, like most people don't even know what's going on in politics. They're like, President Trump's being impeached. They're like, yeah, probably, like whatever. They're not watching it. I mean, that's the general public. I mean, it's just
right. They don't
come on, like this is where you live,
Yeah. Well, it's really hard to get through. You pegged it. It's really, there's so much on people's plate. They have no bandwidth to add something that is, would require them a lot of mental energy spent, right? And they just don't have it. They've been drained every which way, and that's I think part of this system is to drain people in that way as well. You just can't do anything other than try and figure out how to make it to the next day.
Yeah. Well, and that's how important, because if you were, I thought about this, right? If I were to break this and go, listen, everyone, there's breaking news. This is a big fear right now. Everyone needs to know there's serial killers right now who have weaponized the hospitals. And what they're doing is, as soon as children are coming out, they are immediately injecting them with cancer, aluminum, mercury, and I just listed off. And they're using biological weapons on the babies right now. You need to stop it. And I didn't call them vaccines. I just said, this is what they're doing. They snuck this into the system.
Yeah.
It's terrifying. And you started talking about it that way, and you just talked about the ingredients.
Right.
People would maybe that would stir them up enough to be like, oh my gosh, I never thought, what's happening, right? And then you'd be like, yeah, and it's vaccine.
Oh,
like,
you're one of those anti-vaxxers.
You clever son of a bitch, you got me. I knew that was going to happen. So yeah, gotcha. But I mean, I don't know. I'm always plotting on how to talk about these things more efficiently, right?
Right.
But I guess it doesn't matter if they don't let our message get out, right? If they're going to block it. So that's why I'm really hoping Kim just opens the door and says, like, you can't do that anymore.
No, but what you just said, though, is the result of them blocking us, is us coming up with better means of communicating it that goes viral mouth to mouth, literally without the internet.
Somebody proposed this to me today, and I totally agree, that we need to start a grassroots and start to put things on old school, like the way this country was established, right? The Declaration of Independence was posted on everyone's door, right? It's like, we declare our independence, you're part of it, right? And everyone had to face that. Now, what if we did the same with 1,000 other issues? And it became normal that in every single town we had a network of people that literally went over to someone else's house, tack it on the door, and we go, right?
Okay, I've got it. All right, for that we should try this with what you just said about vaccines, right? Don't use the word vaccine. Talk about the weapon. There's weapons being entered the hospitals, and they're injecting our kids with all these things, and nobody knows about it. And do it as a whisper campaign.
Nice, like that.
Because it's a whisper, people want to know. What is it?
So I use this technique, actually. We call this guerrilla marketing, right? We did this, I have my tank logo, right? And up in a couple areas in upstate New York, we just tagged the logo. It just, the circle, just the face, right? And after a while, everybody wanted to know what it was, right? And it just created such a natural stir. It was like we basically used some graffiti artists, right? You just go out and tag up everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And people want to know what it was. Meanwhile, it was, a corporate wellness company, right? But people embraced it, because one of the biggest issues with corporate wellness is people don't participate. But because it was kind of like edgy, people got into it, and everybody, and they came and found us. They came looking for us all the time. Yeah, I'm into that. I love the idea of guerrilla marketing like that. Putting out, need a little bit of capital on that to figure it out. But that'd be a worthy cause to raise money actually for it, to actually get messages out, start talking about vaccines in a different way. So I'm working on it. That's a good idea, Dan.
Yeah, whisper campaign. Yeah, with those kind of things, and then we do like one get one started, and then we add another one, right? And the same people whisper, but no one's allowed to do it on through technology. You can only tell other people. Here's the whisper, and you have to speak softly.
Right.
And those, it's like the rules of Fight Club, right?
That's right. Never talk about Fight Club. Right. And that'd be great. And then we could say, and then you can go here. You know, actually, well, I shouldn't have out, but I will tell you. You know, if you're on the Speak Project, there is a whole group of secret pages on the Speak Project, right? And the link is the same color as the page. So if you don't know the link is there, you can't get to it, right? No, that's true actually. But so you have to like go and track it down. Now I've always done that with my sites. I've always set things like that up, like in backup, but I've never put them to proper use because, you know, I just haven't. But we'll figure it out.
Yeah, I think I think I may have hit one of those accidentally one time. I said, "What happened? why did my page change?"
Is that 100? Is that 100 selfies of Tank? What is that? It's not, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Everyone's looking. Oh, let's get his selfies. Yeah.
Just me over and over again making faces. Yeah. No, but you know, I do think we have to get innovative like that. And I did reach out to like, you know, the A team in Detroit, right? Like when I say like the A team, I mean like seriously, like you know, Hannibal, B.A. Baracus, and Face, kind of, and Murdoch, kind of amazing group out there in Detroit, who's just they get everything done. I mean, they're great, right? And I don't use them all the time because I don't want to take them for granted, right? But everything I ask them to do, they come with the thunder, right? It's amazing. Like they bring in the best inventors, designers, you know, anything I need. Like when I've exhausted my resources, I call them. And they're like the A team, and they just boom, here, I got it, you know. And when I was reaching out to them to actually get their help, you know, because you know, Detroit is a bunch of survivors, you know. I mean, that place, like they try to genocide Detroit, you know. So I mean, they're ferocious. I mean, they're like, no, man, you're not taking us down. So it's like that's a good group, and they're going to help us start to spread the word, just the way you're talking about. That was the idea they had today, exactly what you said. I mean, not exactly, but they were talking about going on the ground, you know, door to door, synchronicity from here to the Philippines. The Whisper campaign has begun.
That's it. You know, it's all right. We're all tuned in. That's why that's part of the creation, right? It's the manifestation, right? We get all tuned in, and we know what to do. We just start taking those steps. Again, you know, it's just one step in front of the other, and soon you're walking out the door.
You know, my problem is like I like to call my shots, right? I like that baby moment.
I'm going to take this step, and then I'm going to take this step, and that's going to lead to this step.
Well, I don't tell my steps, and I also am a big believer in misdirection. Like, you know, I know we're going to come after this judge down in King County, and everybody after that, right? But I realized a long time ago we had to organize people all over the place. And it's amazing. I realize now we have thousands of people, if not, who knows how, just that I know of that are mobilized, right? And they've got their own groups, and they're setting up, and they're moving, right? Like this is the resistance, and this is where the people get to actually contribute to the rebuild, right? Yeah. And basically, like Ken has made it possible for us to do that. And now you're going to be rounding up these same scoundrels who are going to be, I feel like they're going to be running in the streets pretty soon. But they don't seem to think that. They just feel like walking around like, are we all just going to ignore that this guy is outed for a million different things? Like, how long are we going to ignore all of the ridiculous charges, evidence, and proof of Bill Clinton being a rapist, pedophile? How long are we going to ignore that? You know, it's like at some point there's got to be something you could charge this guy with, or you know, if we were actually going to impose justice by the people, you're like, aren't we within our rights to?
I think it's going to have to be that the time of the ones that are helping people with being arkansided, when those people stop helping with the arkansiding, I think that's when you're going to see a lot of this stuff come about. So those people are the standing in the way because those are the enforcers, right? This is what scares people into silence.
Dan, that's a great point. So I think this is a new segment of the front lines we're going to have here for a moment. It's going to be called Heart to Heart with Tank. Here we go. Listen, stop killing kids for money. They don't have any money. We have all their money. Stop working for them. Work for the people. Because their plan sucks. Okay, that's it. Just want to say that. I'm not going to
Yeah, it's a good public service announcement. I appreciate that.
I'm just clowning you.
But, I'm sure that Sid already is working on putting it onto a video.
Well, believe me, she'll tell me to do it better. If I don't do it right, like they let me know. Like I was messing around. I accidentally recorded something. I was trying to experiment with lighting. I was talking, and she's like, "Tank, we can't use this." I'm like, "I know, but I'm like, but duly noted." I was clowning around one day with Lisa, and I showed up with like an astronaut costume on, which was my Halloween costume.
Right. I remember you were wearing that one day, yeah. Well, Halloween we were doing a show, right?
Yeah, but Sid wasn't feeling it.
Yeah, and she didn't like my my Trump impression.
No. You know what? No, I'm not too big to take advice from good people looking out for our best interests, right?
Yeah. So, no, that's okay. That's fine. I mean, it's in the hidden episodes. It's there. Oh.
If you want to go, you have to find the secret link at the Speak Project.
Oh, actually, that's one way we could do it because that would work. There is a link for it. It's just you have to have the link to see it because you can't find it in the lineup. Now we are starting to move over to BitChute, and I just another some background coming from Sir Patrick Matt on iPod in Pursuit of Truth. He basically is saying he has the most luck in doing uploads at BitChute, and that he's already has 10,000 subscribers. Now he has 300,000 on YouTube, but having just crossed 10,000 there at BitChute, it does show that there is, a good momentum happening there. So that's why I'm asking people to help me move. I can't. I have no bandwidth to do it. I literally have none. But I've had. I don't know. There's already eight, 10 people that said they'll help move videos. So I've organized a Telegram group to put people all in that one group, so to help coordinate from there. So anyway, and I put the username and password to log into my BitChute account there. So just to start that move over, and then I guess we'll look at how to actually do broadcasting there as well. Because I fully expect we're going to have to start again, after the 10th, unless Kim can do something before they come down and shut us down.
And in that vein, I fully intend to sue YouTube no matter what happens. Yeah. And I'm going to hold them in violation of our constitutional rights for forming a community and a product, and then discriminating against those based on ideas.
Well, just think about this. How many kids got harmed because this information that we're putting out did not make it through to everybody? They've suppressed it, causing more children to die. That's YouTube's actions.
That is YouTube's actions. I agree. And I'm going to start to lead off every broadcast with that until whatever it is that they want to do. At the end of the day, there's community guidelines. Actually, I'm a paying member. I have a premium membership YouTube, right? That I can't even go live from our site, and I have no community violations whatsoever. I have not done anything wrong. I have not threatened anyone. I don't have any copyright violations of any kind. I have done nothing wrong, right? And they have taken us off. They looked for their window. They took us down because we were trying to go 24/7. Because at the end of the day, what I realized is like, look, I'm going to put everything out because unlike the cabal who hides everything, I'm like, we're going to be transparent about everything. Everything. So I don't mind. So we would have our meetings live. We were doing this. I mean, it only lasted maybe 5 or 6 days, and not even that. I don't remember, but it was great, you know. And then like we would just have random time. Whenever I had an idea, I'd stop in and just if there was people hanging out there, I would just share, you know, drop some cuts on them and tell them, right? Because we were it was naturally recording, but we were not keeping track of it like that because there was no, you know, like you're not recording 9 hours of, you know, kind of airspace. But you know what? There was a lot of great clips in the midst of that, of things that were breaking that people could see and kind of have insight.
Yeah.
And I feel like, you know, people get into that. And we were live all the time, you know, what can you hide? What can you accuse us of? It's like, we're live, right? It's like, we're just here. So YouTube is complicit with an agenda to eliminate humanity. And at the end of the day, I really feel like we have to get to that point where that is the conversation. We have got to stop pretending, not you and me, I'm saying we as in the collective of humanity, right?
Right.
All of these groups, YouTube, all you mercenaries, all you bankers, you have lost this war. I have already got it from sources who are actually going to do great. They're going to do great, and they've already confirmed everything we've said. And you know why they're going to do great? Because when they had the opportunity to flip sides, we didn't make a big deal about all the previous BS that they put us through. We didn't do that. We're like, we want to change the world. Cooperate. And you know what? And they're cooperating. And you know what they did? They didn't renege on every freaking deal, you lowlifes. Right? They just, of course. It'd be better. Come on board.
You know, towards this showing that they've lost and things are changing. Remember, I was talking about how Trump has, you know, he ended up meeting with the Emperor of Japan, and then he flew to England and met with the Queen. I mean, and this happened like twice within like 4 months, right? It's like, you know, this round trip that he made, and each time. And that last trip, he ended up signing something with the Queen and all this. But we have to understand that the monarchies were before the countries that we know, these incorporated entities, right, that are under the UN. So the monarchies are still all there. What is going on right now, is the Emperor of Japan is meeting with all of these Scandinavian monarchs, right? And they're working out stuff right now because this corporate autocracy that's all under the United Nations is going down. UN is going to go down, right? It's corrupted. You know, I'm not saying there's not good people in the UN. I'm not talking about that. But the intent and the reason is, again, the shadow of who's controlling things and everything behind the scenes, you know, is there. And people don't know. Just like within the whole system, people don't understand the circle within the circle, the wheel within the wheel within the wheel of who's in control. So this is changing right now. And so if you're on the side of those things that were doing bad things, you know they're bad. Stop it. You know, this is the time to stop. You know, move on and get your head on straight, because we're moving into a whole new world, and you need to basically you stopping helps it go faster, right? Saves children.
Yeah, you know, I'll tell you something. I look at it with what we're really pushing, and I mean, I've got people putting pressure from all sides on this. To get one little girl home. One little girl. And there is, right now, thousands of kids that are missing just here in the U.S., you know, probably in the state of Illinois. And people are terrified to even speak up about it because it's just become a common practice. You know, somebody was describing to me Kane County today, you know, someone who had lived in that area briefly, and their son had lived there. And while he was there, you know, and he was describing like you know, this condominium that was like always like Halloween. They said it was like crazy there, like he was describing like, you know, just crazy eccentric white people acting like, you know, something out of like the Vampire Diary, right? And this was normal practice. Well, because that is exactly what's going on. This is it's a culture of the Illuminati. It's like an Illuminati nest, and the only people that are allowed in are people that they know are expendable. They could just disappear out of nowhere, right? They control everything, and now they control everything globally, but in those smaller little communities, these beautiful little suburbs like that, it's designed so that they're close and they can control everything. And I know of many of these, like this, but this one I know is on the vein of this kind of sacrificial, Holocaust that they've been trying to perpetuate. That I know, the Illuminati, the women that we speak to that were decoders that were actually, they said they were working with the Pentagon Task Force, right? But I know that the task force they're describing, they're not working with it. So they're working for the other side, which we knew that before. I outed them I'm like, I know they're not. They're doing it. They're not doing this. Because I made 2 phone calls to disrupt some of their drama. And as soon as I'm like, the fact that I was able to move it that easily for them, right, just by making a couple phone calls, I'm like, if you're working for the Pentagon Task Force, the Pentagon could easily have done what I did. Right? Like, so that's ridiculous. So, and that's the same group that worked with Timothy Holmesett and Abel Danger, the same BS task force, right? Which connects back to the same, another group that connects back to, the bad side of the White Hats, I guess, that is still promoting the Iron Mountain agenda. So even those guys, all of you out there, like, I'm not just talking smack. I'm trying to get you to realize,
wake up.
You need to work your way up the ladder to find out who are you working for. Because if you get to the top of the ladder and it's Chinese and elders, and you realize that there's an agenda to wipe people out, it's all lies. The reason why they want to kill everybody is all based on lies.
And they're just sidelining the people that are trying to do something good, right? With all the best intentions, but they're sidelining you.
They don't get to make decisions for us. We don't consent to that. So that's all I got. So, Dan, you have a great night, everybody. Peace out in New York.
Subscribe, thumbs up, positive comments. See you tomorrow.